Alright, so gone ahead and added your walls, canted walls with a mass. That's the way you've got to do it pretty much in Revit. And now you want to go ahead and add reveals to those canted walls, and you find early on that you can't edit the type properties of the walls such that you have those reveals as part of the definition of the wall structure, nor can you add reveals using the reveal tool here in the wall sweep. It won't allow you to add those either. So the answer is, in this situation, if you really need to model those reveals in your wall, is to go ahead and model in place using a void extrusion. But before we do that, just a little bit of setup is probably a good idea to place reference planes. Is generally where you want those reveals to be. It just kind of help you later with your modeling. At least that's what I find anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and create a reference plane here. I'm going to place one. It's going to be 1 foot above the floor there, and I'll place another one. I didn't really want those dimensions to become permanent. And let me go ahead and place another one, and I'll place one more. And the idea is that each of these are, let's see, where'd my second reference plane go? I lost him. Okay, anyway, go ahead and put him then at 2 feet. And we'll place one more here. We're not going to model all these. We're just going to model basically one reveal wrapping itself around here, these two faces. Hopefully with that you'll get the rest of it, but I will go ahead and place my other reference plane. Okay. The idea being here that, this is part of your setup. And once again, I made that dimension permanent. Alright, let me just make sure there's a foot between this one and that one. Alright, so there we go. That's essentially where your reveals are going to live. Okay, now the next step will be to go ahead and actually start modeling the in-place family. So I'm going to go to the component split tool, model in place. We'll want to make this a wall category. Since we're making void geometry that's cutting into a solid wall, it's got to be a void of that same category. And we're just going to call this reveal 1. Okay, and let's go ahead and create a void from our extrusion. So I will click on the, go ahead and do void extrusion, and we're going to pick a plane here, and I'm going to model first out on the front of the balcony. So click OK, and then basically pick that plane. Let's go ahead and show it, and my grid, let's see here, go ahead and click modify. We're going to change your grid. I think it's a little too tight, that's why we don't see the grid right now. Let's make it 2 feet. There we go. And I'm going to rotate this. Not that that's absolutely necessary either. You could technically work with this just fine. But we're going to, if you're going to draw rectangles or other shapes on it, you might want to rotate this so it just makes your life a little bit easier. Okay, so go ahead and hopefully get this right the first time. And that looks right. It looks orthogonal, or it looks like the x's and y's are in the proper direction relative to the work plane that we're working on. So, okay, let's go ahead and not show that anymore. I'm going to switch over to the south elevation view. And let's go ahead and start modeling that. I think it's going to be easier to see here in a hidden line type of view. So I'm going to do that. Okay, hidden line. Always get that. Want to go down to the other, let's do that right there. Okay, so go ahead and draw your line here. I'm going to line that. That's essentially the center of your reveal. We're going to do some trimming and some editing here to get all that to line up properly. I'm going to go ahead and pick here in the 3D view the edges of the balcony, because again, I'll need some lines here on the end. And then it's just a matter of, I'm going to zoom in here, And are we on thin lines? Yeah, we're on thin lines. It's just that'll make your life a little bit easier if you got this turned on as you try to offset, real close in, because your reveal is essentially 1 inch high. Okay, I'll go ahead and get rid of the middle line. And then we'll just trim things out here on the end. Okay, and a lot of times I would go ahead and actually do all 3 reveals at once. But we'll just do one right now. But I would actually, while I'm in the edit mode here, actually model the other 2 reveals on this face and just take care of it all in one blow. Okay, but in this case we're just going to do this one. Alright, so far so good. The geometry is there. Now you'll notice here, and I'm not exactly sure why the model is, it's probably because in another view the extrusions, ends, and starts were here, but this is actually 18 feet away from the wall, and if we're going to do some if we're going to cut this geometry into the wall, that's not going to work. So we're going to have to go ahead and put this at 0, and the extrusion end at something like, well, you had specified that it needs to be 1/2 inch. Unfortunately, because of the cant of your wall, that may not work, depending on what the angle of the cant is. That just might be too shallow for Revit to handle the cut geometry there. So I'm going to make it 3/4 of an inch. All right, and then once I'm done setting that, then basically I just go ahead and finish the edit mode. Okay, and I'm going to click off of it. You see your void geometry here, kind of an orange line. If you were to go ahead and finish it at this point, you're going to get a warning message here that's saying, hey, the void forms don't cut anything. You've got to actually do one more step and actually cut this void geometry out of the wall, and you do that via the cut geometry tool. So again, modify tab, cut geometry tool, select the wall, select the void extrusion, and now go ahead and finish your model, and there you go, there's your reveal. Okay, now let's go ahead and turn the corner, so to speak, and now we're going to use the same tool over again, model in place, walls. Okay, and we're just going to call this reveal 2. And again, we're going to have to void forms, void extrusion. It's going to ask us to set our work planes, so let's go ahead and do that. Pick that, show it, rotate this if necessary. I think I'm going to skip that for now, see if I can get by without really messing with that. Okay, let's unshow it, and then let's go ahead and draw here a line. And again, we'll just go ahead and draw it. Let me go ahead and line it. And I will pick, like I did before, the face, get those edges, and then we'll offset this by 1/2 inch on each side. Get our 1 inch tall reveal. Okay, go ahead and delete this. And then let's go ahead and trim this out. This is the tedium here. Okay, get rid of this line, get rid of this line. And again, I would typically go ahead and create your other reveals as well. In fact, let's just do one more. This is what I would have done on the other side too from the beginning typically. So let's just go ahead and I'll just, again, draw a line here. And I might have to do some more trimming, but that's okay. Alright, so there's that, and I'm just going to again offset that line by 1/2 inch each side. Okay, get rid of this center line, and we'll just use this end line right here to clean things up. Okay, and then let me see, I'll use my split element tool here. So again, this is part of the tedium of working in sketch mode here, getting all your line work to look right. Okay, do it on the other side here. There is a delete inner segment, by the way, a little option. So, alright, so there we go. There's our two reveals. Again, I'm going to leave them at 3/4. If I set this to 1/2 inch, let me just show you what happens here. If I go ahead and set this to 1/2 inch and go ahead and hit apply, finish the edit mode, and then, you know, like we were doing before, cut that geometry out of the wall. You know, it looks like it takes and everything, but you finish the model and it tells you can't make cutout. So you're just kind of limited to making this a little bit deeper. So I'll go ahead and make that 3/4 of an inch as opposed to 1/2 inch. Hit apply and then finish the model. And there we go. And now we've got our our reveals turning the corner there. And obviously, you know, you need to go ahead and edit this Inplace family, add that void geometry, and the same thing on this side. You need to add another reveal there, but hopefully you get an idea then how to go ahead and add those reveals to your canted walls in Revit.